Hey guys, in the interest of following up to the initial diagnostic video as to problems with a bad idle on the 91 CRX, I thought I would make this concluding video to summarize what the final resolution was and just go through what actually happened. So initially I went through the Honda factory manual, and according to the flowchart for the error code I was receiving through the OBD0 sensor, 5 red pulses on this LED, it indicated that the manifold absolute pressure MAP sensor, which is this component, was bad. And so I went to a junkyard today called Pick and Pull in Richmond and picked up these two parts, these two parts, and I initially swapped out the MAP sensor before I purchased the ECU because I wanted to see if perhaps I could get away with just replacing the MAP sensor. And unfortunately, the car was still idling poorly. It was fluctuating between approximately 500 and 1600 RPM in about 3-second intervals. And so I, when I still had the problem, purchased a used ECU as well. And I got lucky enough to find a Civic from the same generation that had the fuel injection as well. So this was the ECU that was previously in my car and has been swapped out. And replacing both these items still did not resolve the bad idle issue. And idle issues in general are very difficult to diagnose because there are so many contributors or causes of the symptoms that you see. Vacuum lines having leaks in them are the most obvious culprit. So if this vacuum line, which connects onto the throttle body, was leaky, that could cause you to receive the error code on the MAP sensor. And if you followed only the diagnostic flowchart in the Honda factory service manual, you'd be left swapping out the MAP sensor, and if you don't change the vacuum hose, you could have just blown through a lot of money and time and not actually have resolved the issue. And that is what happened in my case as well. So the ultimate cause of my problem was the it's a unit that's connected to the fuel management system, the throttle body, referred to as the idle air control valve, or the IACV, and it's also referred to as the EACV in the Honda service manual. The problem with that was that it had dirt in the coolant ducts inside the unit, and it's a removable unit. There's only two 12mm screws on it, and once you take those off, I went down to my local auto shop, parts store, bought some brake cleaner, and shot it with brake cleaner, and did the best job I could to clear out as much of the debris and dirt as I could. And after that, and I also purchased some gasket sealer because the O-rings for that unit are not sold by anyone I could find, and placing the unit back on. The idle problem was resolved. And so if you ever find yourself dealing with idle problems, they are very difficult to diagnose. I'd say the first step in a general diagnosis would be check all of the vacuum hoses for leaks. The next step would be to thoroughly clean the interior of the throttle body around the butterfly valve. So when you press on the throttle, the valve will open to let more air in, and sometimes what will happen is dirt will accumulate on the interior walls, and that makes it difficult for the butterfly valve to properly open, and that can cause idling issues. The other cause, and I should have done this earlier in my diagnosis, would have been to clean the idle air control valve, and that would have greatly helped me. But if that doesn't help, then the next step is to consult the factory service manual and go through the electrical diagnostic. But yeah, and I can also show you guys some clips from the junkyard today. And yeah, so hope this helps anyone out there who is having this same problem, and let me know if you have any questions. Hey guys, we are at Pick and Pull in Richmond today, and I think it's just the coolest place in the world, to be honest, because we've got rows and rows and rows of cars, and we can find parts for things that we need, like a Honda CRX, so or Honda Civic, and so I'm gonna take a look around and see if I can find anything that should work on my car, and I'll keep you posted. So I managed to get really lucky and find a 1990 Honda Civic SI, which is very similar to my car, and we have the map sensor here, which I just took out, as well as a lot of wiring harness. So this is the ECU from this car, which matches exactly what I had in my CRX, and it was pretty easy to get to. It was just a matter of taking up the carpet, and yeah, that's the reason why I love my car so much, is we can just get parts for it pretty cheap at Pick and Pull. And I called around to ask my local auto parts shops what price I could get for a map sensor, and they wanted $300, which was ridiculous. So here at Pick and Pull, if you can find your car and you know it well enough, you can get parts very cheap, and that same day you don't have to wait to get them shipped to you. So yeah, I think it's really quick stuff. And yeah. So on the CRX, despite changing both the ECU and the map sensor, it still has the same problem it did before, where the idle continues to fluctuate even after the engine's warmed up. And so the next step that I was going to troubleshoot or look into was on the back of the throttle body, there is this thing called the idle air control or something like that, or EACV. And there's a valve in here along with these coolant ports, and one possible cause for this could be having dirt in these two holes here, and maybe a leaky gasket, though that is unlikely because there is little evidence of coolant leaking out here. So what I was probably going to do is go to a local auto parts shop and get new gasket for this, and also maybe some carb cleaner to clean out the dirt in there. I don't know if there's enough dirt to necessarily cause the problems that I'm seeing, but yeah,